It's time for the Spoony One! Wrestling Show! It's time for the Spoony One! Wrestling Show!
Bringing it back, talking about WWE Battleground. Ooh, this started off so well, and then it dropped off a cliff. And I can tell you, well, I was going to tell you right where it happened, but there were... Let's just get into it. I started this one early. I thought I was late, but it turned out I was early. I actually caught the pre-show. Oh, God. Oh, God. It started off with the Funkadactyls, the Mega Powers exploding, and I joked about that initially. But apparently there was an episode of Total Divas. Is there a person alive watching this? And I say this knowing full well that there's a ton of people watching this. I have no idea who. It's like I asked that about Big Brother. This show is still on the air. I have no idea who watches it. Anyway, there was an episode of Total Divas when the Funkadactyls, the chicks who used to dance with Brodus Clay, they are arguing now. And the episode, I believe, was called The Mega Powers Explode. Oh my God. Anyway, Naomi and Cameron are wrestling. I so don't care. And thing is, Naomi is very, very good. Extremely good. She's just stuck with fucking Cameron, who is god awful, especially on the microphone. Just, I don't know, it was probably like a couple weeks ago or last week. I don't remember. But they had her on commentary. Jesus Christ, was this bad. Wow. Wow, was she bad on commentary. That was one of the worst commentary jobs I've ever heard in my life. Whoa, bad. Woo! That has nothing to do with this, but fucking terrible. All she would do on this commentary was just repeat the same lines. How about I come over there and slap the taste out of your mouth? That's pretty tough talk. How about you're not going to be so tough when I come over there and slap the taste out of your mouth? I'll slap the taste out every fucking time. Anyway, it was blah, and Cameron won with a schoolgirl roll-up, schoolgirl pin, and she held the shorts. And Naomi was powerless to kick out of this schoolgirl pin, but she still had the wherewithal about her to cover up her ass crack because the shorts were being pulled up so tight. She was like, I can't, oh, my ass crack is showing. I can't. Weird finish. Really weird, and exposed many things about the business, but not her ass crack. Second match on the pre-show, and if this didn't get you to buy the pay-per-view, nothing will, was Fandango versus Adam Rose. Adam Rose has already become the product placement guy in the middle of the show. So fast has he become irrelevant. And Fandango has been irrelevant since WrestleMania, really. Here was week one of Fandango. Well, they were doing several weeks of like vignettes of Fandango. Oh no, this is gonna suck. Week 2 of vignettes. Week 3. Finally, he shows up and refuses to wrestle. Oh God. Week 2. 2 months he refuses to wrestle. Already we're sick of this guy. Immediately, before he shows up, we're sick of this guy. Adam Rose. We see promos of this guy and we're like, what the fuck is this guy? He's on a tour bus? Is he a wrestler? This is not gonna be good. What the fuck is... He's a bunny? Finally he shows up on NXT. Or he's repackaged on NXT. Whatever. He shows up and he's a lot of fun. He shows up with a fucking bunny, and there's a guy in a lemon suit, and a guy dressed like Superman, kind of, and there's a bunch of weirdos, and they got this stupid song, but it's kind of fun to sing along to, and the NXT crowd will mark out for anything, basically. And, you know, this is week 1 with the Adam Rose crowd. Who's that guy? Oh, he's pretty... This is week 2. There's that guy again. There's week 3. There's that guy. That guy's pretty good. Oh, that guy. I like that guy. Week 4. Week 5. Is that all he does? Week 6. Is that all he does? Week 7. Jesus Christ. That's where we're at. 2 months later, we've realized that's all he does. All Adam Rose is that fucking entrance. That's it. So, we're at the pre-show now, and Fandango and Adam Rose are now 2 dancing clowns who are just doing 2-minute matches, if that, on the pre-show. The match is really about who can more successfully waste our fucking time. Whoever wins, we lose. I didn't my notes. Adam Rose won. He's gonna win because he's getting the push. You remember when Fandango was getting put over Chris Jericho at WrestleMania, and they were putting that over like a big deal? Yeah. They had big plans for that guy. So the first match was the Tag Team Championships. Best 2 out of 3 falls. I don't think they ever do a very good job wising up the crowd to the fact that it's a 2 out of 3 falls match. Because, I mean, I knew, everyone else, I mean, you know, people watching at home know, but I think the crowd always gets so excited about the first fall because they think that's it. So when the Wyatts won the first fall, they're like, oh my god, Tag Team Champs! Oh, there's 2 more falls? Oh. Sorry. But yeah, it's the Wyatts versus the Usos. Again. This is where I come across as really, really negative. Even though this is a negative review of the show. This is another I hate everything moment. I don't. This was an awesome match. Awesome match. Loved it. However, this is like having... This is like the 30th match that these guys have done in the last, like, 4 months. They've had so many matches. The Usos and Wyatts have gone back and forth all year. And they've been great. Like, every match they've done has been great. But it's like eating nothing but ice cream. Nothing but Uso Wyatt flavored ice cream. It's great ice cream. Except the Wyatt flavor tastes like sweat and hair. But whatever. It goes great with Uso. This is a weird metaphor. But anyway. They've been great matches. But I've seen it. I've seen it for months. So like... I'm watching this and I feel bad. You know, I feel bad. I'm watching this going like, it's good. You know, I feel bad. I'm sitting there watching going, this is really good. It's really good. And I just wish they were fighting somebody else. I wish both teams were just wrestling somebody else. And then I realized there's nobody else. You know, there's nobody else in the fucking company they could be wrestling. Because who else is there? There's the Rybaxel. And then there's Goldust and Stardust. And really, neither team is bad. But the thing is, that's it. There's the Matadors. But even when you think about it, they've been... Before that, it was like... And here's the other thing. The Rhodes Brothers and Axelback have been going back and forth. They've been going at it just as long as the fucking the Usos and the Wyatts have. Like, it's those two and those two endlessly. It's been crazy. Like, that's the tag team division. Is those two feuds have just been going parallel. Oh my god. So boring. I can't believe it. You know? That said, this was a great match. Definitely the best match on the show. By far. By far. So much so that I feel bad for complaining about it. Because there really wasn't much to complain about, except for the fact that this match has been done 1,000 times. You know. But this was still great. And the 2 out of 3 fall stipulation really did add a lot to it, especially during the last fall. What's funny is I've started to notice a pattern in Usos tag team matches, and even I don't know if it's because the Wyatts have this as a finisher too or not, but the end of the Usos Wyatt tag team matches I call the parade of super kicks. They set up their finishes with super kicks. Like, so at the end of the tag team matches, there's like 9 super kicks. It's like, you know, you can never tell the difference, and I'm getting to this. This is the part I like the least about these matches. Uso 1 hits a super kick, and then is like, and he kicks out. And then, you know, he gets up, and then, you know, super kick 1, he spins around, eats another super kick, and then, you know, he's about to go up to the top rope, and then Luke Harper hits a super kick, and you're like, that's a big guy, he should not be able to hit a super kick. And he turns around, hits another super kick, and then there's a double super kick, and I'm like, how many fucking super kicks can people hit? Wow, there's a lot of super kicks. And they're kicking out of super kicks. A lot of super kicks. But yeah, this was bordering on silly with how many finishers they were kicking out of, but I'm hoping this was the blow-off to the feud. Usually, he said ignorantly, with a 2 out of 3 falls match, this is the end of the feud. Again, this is where I say weird finish. I think most people were predicting the Wyatts to walk away with the titles on this one. I think most people just felt it was time. Just felt like the right time. Instead, they didn't. The Usos just went up, and Eric Rowan kicked out of the Superfly Splash, you know, and so Michael Cole lost his shit. He's like, nobody ever kicks out of that shit. Nobody, fucking nobody. That shit is unkick-outable. And so the Usos, they look at each other and they're like, we'll both jump on him. And so they both jump on him, and nobody kicked out of that shit. And yeah, so the Usos win. And again, it didn't take away from the match, and one cannot complain. Like, it's not a bad idea to keep the titles on the Usos, but it's really, it just seems to really hold down the Wyatts at a time they don't need to be held down. It kind of seems like a time to build them up, you know, especially since these guys are so... It just seems like a time for them to be a real menace, you know, and it's not to... Again, this seems like me, like, always cheering the heels, me always being contrarian. This is not me being contrarian, you know, me always being unhappy with the way things are. I'm not. It just seemed like the right time. You know, that's just me. And I think a lot of people felt that way. Yeah, it's strange. I'm not unhappy with it. It just seems strange to me. Although, on the other hand, hopefully, I was kind of dreading... Honestly, I was kind of dreading the Wyatts winning this one. Because, had they won, mandatory rematch. That's what I was afraid of. I was like, oh my god, the Wyatts are going to win this, and then they're going to get a contractual rematch on Raw or something. They're like, oh no. That was going to suck. It was going to be great. It was going to be great, but I was going to feel like shit for complaining about it. I was like, oh my god, there's going to be Wyatts, Usos, 3,437. Yeah. See, such an asshole. But, Yeah, I'm sure your mileage will vary. Oh, what I didn't like about this match, he complained even further. This is just storytelling to me. This was just the storytelling aspect of it. The story going into this was that the Usos lost the tag team match with the Wyatts on the Raw before. And the reason they lost it was because the referee got confused and forgot which of the Usos was the legal man in the tag match, and they pinned the wrong one. The Wyatts pinned the wrong one. The ref made a mistake, and they lost the match because of that. Usually, the twin thing works to the twins' advantage. They exploit it because the referee can't tell the difference, and so they use it to cheat. The Bellas made an entire career out of this. So they, like, when one would be hurt, they would switch behind the ref's back and cheat that way. It's usually not the case when the twins are screwed by this circumstance. And so the Usos were doing an interview, I think on the pre-show, where they were bitching about this. They were like, they were going, what do you mean you can't tell us apart? They were kind of joking about it, but they were mostly bitching. And they were like, hopefully the referee will pay closer attention this time. And I'm like, that's not a very babyface thing to do, is bitch about the refereeing, but whatever. But they were kind of concerned about this. They're like, I sure hope the referee can tell us apart. And I'm like, guys, wear different colored clothes. Put the words Jimmy and Jay on your ass. Shave your head or something. This is not hard. Take a magic marker and, like, shirts and skins. Wear a t-shirt. Guys, this is not an insurmountable problem. Fuck. But, like, the whole time, the commentators are worried about this. They're like, they're making sure to point out the entire match. They're like, who's the legal man? Is that, I lost track. Is that Jimmy? Is that Jay? And I'm like, sure. This isn't that confusing. And this really didn't play into the finish. Really, I thought this would play into the finish somehow, because the only reason they would keep bringing this up is one of two reasons. One, the Usos get screwed by it again, or two, the Usos use it to their advantage and win because of it. Neither thing happened. It doesn't play into it at all. Really, not that I remember. Maybe the second fall where they, like, I don't think so. But not in any significant way. I just don't remember this. But they made a way bigger deal out of it than it was worth, either way. But certainly not the decisive fall. But, like, it was such a hassle where they're like, is that, which one is that? Oh my god. Anyway. I'm bitching about a great match. It seemed a strange storyline to me about something that had. I've never heard of the twin confusion thing being a detriment to the twins. That was new to me. That's all I'm saying. Oh my god, Jack Swagger versus Rusev. This is like my favorite. This was the main event to me. How fast did Jack Swagger turn around because of this feud? This is fascinating on so many levels. I'll start with how fast the crowd turned around on this. And I don't know if it's ironic or if the crowd is that stupid. Like, part of me doesn't know if the American audiences are this stupid. It's kind of like the Borat effect, where Borat is at the rodeo audience and, they go, "We support your war of terror." And they, hey. I really don't know if the majority of your American audiences realize that your babyface, Jack Swagger, up until like 3 weeks ago, was the incredibly racist, incredibly racist red state American asshole. Took our derbs type guy. Because he was. In fact, for all I know, he still is. Because they haven't really changed characters. They're still the same guy. Zeb Coulter's still doing the same fucking rhetoric. They're still doing the racist shit. It's just they have a positive direction to have an outlet to. And this would be so brilliant if that was the joke, like if there was some irony being broadcast here on the intent of the WWE, but it's so not. This is just a straight up babyface turn. But the irony is not lost on me. But so I'm just watching the audience, and I just wonder how many people are in on the joke, and how many people are just like, "Woo, USA!" Because you got people doing the "We the People" shit. This is brilliant. And that kind of ties into the whole, this is such Rocky IV. This is classic. But this is where it's pro wrestling, man. This is straight up pure 100% pro wrestling. This is as classic as it gets. Because you don't need anything else when it comes to a pro wrestling storyline. This is pure jingoism. It's cartoonish as shit. Agreed. But it's as simple as this. You've good, bad. Really, you need to look. I know. It's silly, it's stupid, but you need to look no further on how a heel acts, on how a heel manager acts, on how to get basically the cheapest heat possible, and how you get a crowd behind you with ignoring the racist babyface shit, but how you get a. You know what I mean? Because when you get down to it, Rocky IV was pretty much the most basic but effective, sports story. It's a sports story. The Rocky movies were the most efficiently told, just underdog versus insurmountable odds story ever. Rocky IV being the perfect example of that. Cheesy as shit. Terrible movie. Terrible. But the unstoppable Ivan Drago versus Rocky, just this Russian Superman against this plucky underdog who, through pure heart and pure skill, overcomes this essentially Terminator and wins. Brilliant. And that's what we got here. I loved it. I loved it from beginning to end. Except in this version, the Russian wins. But a lot of people didn't like this. Well, I'll tell you what I didn't like. And this is... Lana comes out. And I don't know what the fuck they were thinking. Or maybe I do. And I really don't like it. And this... Lana comes out and does this thing where she does her usual rhetoric about, your president is sissy boy. Your president is wuss. Unlike Vladimir Putin. And then she brings up the Malaysian flight crash. I bet a lot of you, not maybe a lot of you, but I'm betting some of you, that really turned you off of this show. Mentioning that stuff. So it didn't make me turn it off, but I was like, not cool. But getting past that was a good match. A lot of people didn't like the finish. I liked it. I thought that was actually a perfect finish. Really good. Here's why. The way it worked was Swagger had Rusev in the ankle lock, had him dead to rights with it. And so, this is the first time we've ever seen Rusev in like serious fucking trouble. So he's like, ah! So he finally gets to the ropes and he escapes to the outside. And he's hurt bad. His ankle's hurt bad. Swagger doesn't want to let up. He doesn't want to give him any room to breathe. He's going to keep the pressure on. So he goes right back outside to follow him, puts the ankle lock on him on the outside, because he's going to try to hurt him real bad. So, Rusev, he's on the outside. He finally uses like the last reserve of strength he has, turns him around and throws Swagger into the ring post. And supposedly knocks him out. And, they're both, writhing in pain on the outside. And Rusev just manages to get up and dive back into the ring to beat the 10 count, and he wins by countout. And a lot of people have the knee-jerk reaction that they hate countout finishes on a pay-per-view. And normally I would agree. However, this makes perfect sense. This was a good finish. And here's why. From a storyline perspective, a countout is good when it's earned. And this was an earned countout finish. Because it just made sense, it did. Because it did. Okay, no. They're obviously building to a rematch. And they want to build the story that Jack Swagger could have beaten this guy. He was going to beat him. It was just that a few things. There was a few things that stopped him. One, he was unlucky. He really was. He got greedy, in a way. He made a wrong strategic decision. He went after Rusev. He wanted to keep the pressure on. He maybe should not have done that. He kind of pursued a wounded animal, and he got pulled in the ring post. He was in the wrong spot, wrong time, and he paid for it. He got knocked out, and Rusev dodged back in the ring, beat the 10 count, he got counted out. He lost. But that's one of those things where, he lost a match, but Rusev now knows that he can be beaten. So, it's got in his head now. Before, Rusev has never really been close to being beaten. But now, so you've got this unstoppable beast, this formerly unstoppable beast. Rusev cannot be beaten. Rusev crush, all this guy. But that's the storyline now, is for the first time ever, Rusev has met somebody who's better. Right? And the only way that he could win was to sneak in by countout. Okay? This guy was going to break his ankle. He had to sneak in. He had to cheat, essentially. He had to, and he'd throw him into the post and then sneak in and win by countout. He had to, the only reason he won was because, basically, luck. He only won because he knocked the guy out and dodged in at the last second. Had that not happened, had Swagger not just kind of been knocked out, had Swagger gotten back in the ring, he'd have tapped him out. He'd have been fucked. So, what we're going to see now is Lana's going to go back in, the next week Lana's going to go back in there, say we have proven Russian superiority, Rusev is greatest ever. But, Swagger's going to want a rematch. Because he's going to say correctly that, I had you dead to rights, you got lucky, one more time, I'm going to expose you, maybe it's false count anywhere, no matter what. And so Rusev is going to do Lana and Rusev are going to do everything they can to avoid a rematch, because they know what happened, they know what'll happen the next time, and the next match, Swagger may win. May not win. Probably will. But that's going to be the story. They're telling a story here. It led to a logical finish. And even this made sense even on a pay-per-view. I did not feel cheated on this one. But yeah, this made total sense to me. Fuck that Malaysian thing, though. Sorry if that got too real for you, but sorry, don't be, I'm not sorry. They should be sorry. That was fucked up. They had no reason to go there. That was just right out of nowhere, man. If they were going to do something like that, they should have done something with it. don't know what they possibly could have gone with. Divas Championship. AJ Lee versus Paige. Probably the most disappointing match on the entire card. These two are awesome wrestlers. Probably the two best, divas. I hate using that word. Although they made a big distinction out of it. There's a distinction here that I'm going to get into in a minute. Probably the two best that they've had in a long time. They had a shit match. I'm sorry, but they did. They did not click. I think any other night, and hopefully, maybe on Raw they'll give them another match. I think maybe they'll go backstage and they'll be like, you know what? Tomorrow we're gonna have a do-over. And maybe the next time they'll have a much better match. I hope so. I hope. In fact, I know they're gonna have a rematch, but I hope it's better than this. I think any other night they'll have a better match than this, but Battleground, whoa, this was bad. Not good. They blew spots early. It was one of those things where I don't know what was going on. I don't know what the psychology of this match was. Paige was acting weird, and I don't know. I didn't get it. It was like, it was so weird. I didn't know how to feel during this match. Like, there was no flow to it. It was just like one person would hit a move, and they would just kind of sit there and like think. Or look frustrated, or look pensive, and then stand up and pick the other person up, and then hit a move, and then try to go for a pinfall, and then look frustrated, and then sloppy. But here's, like, Paige was what was really confusing to me. Was like, they're turning her heel, but she's acting weird. I keep saying weird, but she is. Like, they're doing this bit where they're calling each other frenemies. I don't know. And she's doing this. Okay, what she's doing is she's doing this thing where, like, I think what they're doing is, like, she's doing everything she can to beat AJ. Okay, but no matter what she does, AJ is she's just kicking out. You know, she's like, I think the frustration that she's showing, that pensiveness, that frustration, that thinking really hard thing, and she's kind of whining at times. She's like, "Come on, AJ, come on," you know, is like, she's like, "What do I have to do? Like, I don't know what to do," you know. So she, she'll hit the page turn as she kicks out, and she's just like, you know. But it doesn't seem like she's frustrated. It doesn't seem like she's angry. It doesn't seem like she's about to snap. It just seems like she's sitting there looking confused. You know, very strange pacing. You know, if her acting or her behavior is what's throwing me off. It doesn't seem like Paige is trying not to hurt her. It doesn't seem like she's trying to contain her emotions and trying not to snap. I don't know what she's doing. Or trying to preserve their friendship or something. Because, like, if this was... I thought the gimmick here was that Paige is pretending to be her friend, and that AJ is pretending to believe it, but seeing right through it. But I thought that was the gimmick. But I don't know. Like, I just don't get it. And so that's what I mean by the whole psychology is just fucking confusing the shit out of me. And so now I think like the gimmick is, I think Paige doesn't know what the gimmick is, and so she's just sitting there like, AJ, tell me what's going on, like I don't know. And then AJ just wins, and not good. They need to give, I'll tell you what it needs to happen is, you know what it needs? This is the real problem with this match. This is it. Is somebody needs to show an edge here. Somebody needs to show some aggression. There was no energy. This was the big problem with the entire pay-per-view. Is there was like no energy, except with a few exceptions. The Usos match, and there's a couple other spots, but like this match felt fucking comatose through so many spots in this. Through so many, the majority of this pay-per-view felt like it was slow as molasses, and this felt fucking drugged. This match, it felt like they were wrestling underwater, and they felt like they were just doped. It felt like it always feels like matches are rushed on pay-per-views. Like, no, this match felt like they had a 4-minute match plan, and they're like, you've got 10, and they're like, well, we better throw in 5 minutes of rest holds then. I don't know. But like, a lot of sitting there, and at least that's what I remember. But, what I meant, yeah, Divas. Michael Cole, as AJ is coming out, or as they're wrestling, I don't know, Michael Cole is talking about AJ. And he's talking about how great AJ is. And he goes, AJ held the title for over 200 blah blah days. She could be the greatest Divas champion in history. And Bradshaw, JBL, had the weirdest, in the strangest voice I've ever heard him, the weirdest intonation I've ever heard him affect. I don't know if he broke character, or it was almost like he was horrified as I was, maybe. Or if he was like, it almost was like it took every ounce of his being not to strike Michael Cole in his teeth. He very quietly, frighteningly quietly, said, Moolah was champion. Moolah was women's champion. And Mike Cole goes, Moolah was women's champion. AJ was Divas champion. Oh my God. And Bradshaw goes, yes, Moolah was the women's champion. You're fucking right. You're fucking right she was. That fucking butterfly belt. Jesus Christ. I wonder if Cole A was fed that line about AJ first being the best Divas champion of all time. I wonder if he was fed that line. 2, I wonder if he was fed the lifesaver that the distinction between Divas and women's champion. You know, because that was amazing. And 3, it wasn't too long ago that I remember them saying Trish Stratus was in that company. Yeah. Fucking butterfly belt. This was a bad match. Then we go to Chris Jericho versus Bray Wyatt. You know, Bray Wyatt, to me, goes back and forth from being this fantastic performer to having some of the worst matches on the card, and I don't know what it is. I don't know why, and I don't know if it's that I don't care who he's feuding against, or if they put him in matches that are too long, or if it's just that his gimmick is goofy, or what. I don't know what it is. But this match was okay. The crowd was... I'll tell you what a big part of it is. The crowd didn't give a shit. The crowd... And what I thought, my theory, is that nobody thought Chris Jericho had a chance. That was my thinking. As soon as Chris Jericho came back, and as soon as the Wyatts surrounded the ring, they're like, oh my god, Chris Jericho's going to die. Because I think most people just thought Chris Jericho was going to come back to make Bray Wyatt look good. And so I think maybe they thought that he was just going to get crushed here. Which honestly should have happened. Didn't. So yeah, when Bray Wyatt got pinned, we were just like, oh, that was dumb. But yeah, there was, at the time, there was really no suspense, for me anyway, because I really didn't care. You know, I was like, it's not that I think that either one of them is bad, but I was like, I didn't have an interest. I was like, this is okay. You know, it was... Maybe I was just in a bad mood. You know, but there was really nothing spectacular. It just didn't... It certainly... Okay. It certainly didn't grab the crowd's interest. Before you start with me, because the crowd did not give a shit. So it didn't grab mine. So at least I wasn't alone. And this is one of those times where I don't know what it was. I'm just theorizing here that it just seemed like kind of a dead-in-the-water angle. I don't know. Maybe it's because Chris Jericho's hair looks like the Red Rooster. Seriously, his hair looks really dumb. He needs to do something with that hair, or at least stop doing something with that hair. Because, yeah. Wow. It's not good. I'm getting allergies. I think it's because... You know, maybe it's because we feel that a lot of people feel that he really should be kind of higher up the totem pole, as it were, than he is, and he's kind of, we feel like he's treading water. Maybe I feel like maybe he's treading water, but he's got this... Bray Wyatt's got this very 90s character, and sometimes we dig that depending on who he's with, and sometimes we don't. Yeah, it's sometimes hard to feel like he belongs, and that was really evidenced with John Cena, where when he's doing that whole "think of your legacy, John," and that was like, it was bad. Or when mysterious nightmare children are appearing on the cage door steps, you're like, But sometimes it really works well. Like when he's playing Psycho Cult Leader, it works well, but then you start to think about it for even a second, you're like, he's a Psycho Cult Leader? But the finish, and I'm saying this a lot tonight, the finish was bizarre. This was the... Like I said, Chris Jericho wins, but honestly, that was the finish. Chris Jericho wins. No, like, this is the finish. They're wrestling, and they wrestle, and they wrestle, and then they wrestle, and then they wrestle, and then they wrestle. And then they walk towards each other, and then Chris Jericho codebreakers him, and he wins. I'll instant replay. They're wrestling, and then they wrestle, and then they both get up, and then they walk towards each other, and then Jericho code breakers him, and he wins. It's not like it's not like the code breaker. It's just like I can't restate this enough. Like it's I'm just the way you're picturing it is like he runs at him. He like Bray Wyatt runs at him. And then, like, Randy Orton RKO's him out of nowhere. That's not what happens. This isn't like some out-of-nowhere move. This isn't some, like, reversal of a move. You're thinking way too fast. This isn't a reversal. This isn't like some lightning-fast reversal of a clothesline or an Irish whip or some kind of strange kung fu. Bray Wyatt's walking, and Chris Jericho's walking, and then Chris Jericho, codebreaker. 1, 2, 3. Walk. I don't know what happened. Or rather, I do know what happened, and that it just happened. They're just wrestling, and then boom! It looked like a video game. It's almost like me and Miles are playing a video game, and I just codebreaker him. And I look to Miles, and I go, "Did you not see that coming?" And he goes, "I didn't know you had a full meter." And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Whatever." And I got his codebreakered you right in your face. Like, you didn't even block or nothing. Like, you know, he's just like, "Shit. You just walked up and codebreakered the shit out of me." I know I just said that like 10 times, but like, I went back and watched it like 10 times. I remember he was like, walked up, codebreaker, walked up, codebreaker. And I'm like, he just walked up and codebreakered him. I'm like, what the fuck? That was what the fuck? I'm sorry. That was just, what the fuck? I loved that finish. It was Bray, but it was like he just. I think they were trying to go for some code breaker out of nowhere thing, but instead it just looked like Bray Wyatt was just walking into the inevitable. Oh my god. This is where I was going when I said this is where the show fell off a cliff. In reality, there was a lot of bad stuff before this, but this was where the show became pretty much irredeemable. There was an interview with Seth Rollins where he was talking blah blah, I'm Money in the Bank, blah blah blah, and then Dean Ambrose attacks him. Dean Ambrose attacks him from behind, from the front. In that, you know, I'm doing an interview, you know, I'm Seth Rollins, I'm gonna win the I'm gonna win my match tonight against Dean Ambrose, and then Dean Ambrose hits him here. I don't know how you get attacked from behind, from the front, but Dean Ambrose managed to do it. He's like, how did you not see this coming? He got ambushed from the front. So Dean Ambrose is beating the piss out of him, and then security pulls Dean Ambrose off, and then Triple H, he comes over and he's like, get him out of here! Get Dean Ambrose out of here! Throw him out of the building! Throw him out! I want him out of here! I will not tolerate fighting on my wrestling show! And so they throw him out. Leading to our next match. Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose. So Seth Rollins comes out, and he's like, announce me as the winner by forfeit. And so they do. And Triple H comes out on the stage, looking very pleased. Triple H is overjoyed that a match has been won by forfeit on his wrestling pay-per-view. That does not seem best for business. That you've had a match now, that you've had a match officially no-show on your pay-per-view. You've just had a wrestler come out, not wrestle. I don't care if he's with your faction. I don't care if, like, I don't care if he works for you, he's your friend. You had one of your showcase matches just, like, come out, you fuck the audience, and then leave. But, you know, this isn't character, obviously, but, like, in character, you're just like, good. There's been no wrestling. I applaud this. Woo! And then, Dean Ambrose comes out. He jumps out of the audience and attacks Seth Rollins. And I'm like, oh, good. We're going to see, like, a street fight here or something like that. There's going to be a fight. Nope. Security pulls them apart. And then they have a pull-apart brawl for, like, 3 minutes. A really shitty pull-apart brawl where security keeps pulling them apart, and then Seth Rollins keeps jumping on him because because they keep... And so it's really crappy, and they keep doing this thing where they jump, and so they drag Dean Ambrose out by his hair, and they throw him out of the building again. That's it. So, that was Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. What was probably going to be the best or second best match on the show, and they bait and switched you. They robbed you of a match. They robbed you of probably the best match on the show. Imagine if you'd have paid full price for this pay-per-view. What is full price? $55? $54.95? Imagine if you'd paid that. Because I guarantee you, a big reason you'd have paid that price was for Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. You'd have probably paid for one of, 3 matches. You'd have probably paid for the tag team match. You'd have probably paid for the main event. And you'd have probably paid for Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. $55. And then you paid for that. You paid for a pull-apart brawl. You paid for Seth Rollins coming out and saying, "Announce me by winner by forfeit." Okay, the pull-apart brawl. You do that on Raw. You do that to generate interest for the pay-per-view match. You do that so you keep them apart so the audience goes, I want to see them fight. Man, I can't wait for them to fight at the pay-per-view, because then there won't be any security to hold them back. They'll be fighting. But then at the pay-per-view, Dean Ambrose is getting arrested. What the fuck is going on? Is there some reason for this? Tell me there's a reason for this. Tell me there's a reason one of them cannot wrestle. Because there has to be. There better be a fucking reason for this. Don't tell me there's a storyline reason for this. Because if there is, that's bullshit. That is false advertising. That is fucking blatant. And here's why this is so fucking stupid of them if they're going to do this. This is why you should be pissed. This is why you should be fucking livid if you paid $55, if you paid $10 for this. And this is just after. This is like the day after they were doing this huge recruiting drive for the network. Sales are in the toilet for the WWE network. This is right after they were doing a free week of the network to try to drive up sales because they're so bad. You know, they're trying to show you all the stuff that you can get with the network, all the content that you can get, they're like, this is all the programming you can get. They're trying to show you, they're really trying to sell you on the network. This is a critical time for the network, So even if, I don't know if the free trial is ended or not, probably is, but now of all times, especially right after that trial period, you'd think maybe people would be bringing their friends over to watch the pay-per-view now that they got the network. People might still be on the fence, and they're like, I want to see what this is all about. Maybe the product's improved since then. I might pick up the network. Then they see this. Then they see this lack of this. Then they see them trot Seth Rollins out to not have a match, and they go, oh, this isn't what's happening. Sure am glad I didn't pay for the network. Sure am glad I didn't pay $10 a month for this shit. Why would you? This is a big fuck you to, like, why would you buy the network? Why would you buy the network if this is what they're going to do to you? If they're going to false advertise their pay-per-views now and not put on the matches they've agreed to, this is bait and switch. You can't do this if you hope to maintain any kind of audience. It's bullshit. This is ridiculous. I don't get it. I really, there's either gotta be a good reason or they're insane. Especially considering this is such a crucial time. Because they're trying to sell people on the network, and then the first thing they do right after the free trial is they fuck you. They're like, check out all the great stuff we got on the network, like Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. Ha! That's kidding. You're not gonna sell a single goddamn network subscription doing that. You're gonna sell negative subscriptions on that. Because, I'll tell you why. It's because I'm telling you not to get the network if they're gonna keep doing that. I just sold negative subscriptions. That's the best reason not to do it. If they're not going to deliver the agreed upon matches, then there's no reason to watch. I'm locked into a year-long subscription, so I'm not going to get my money back. But mine was a gift subscription, so thank you, Mom. I do appreciate it, but it's like, if I was paying for my own subscription, I would not pay for next month until, not because of this. Certainly not. This is fucked. Just screw this. I'm sorry I get passionate about this, but I want what I paid for. I want my really good Seth Rollins Dean Ambrose match. I might not have cared if this was fucking Goldust versus the Ryback. I would have been, I would have been mad. This was a match that was advertised. But what makes it even worse was this was gonna be this could have been a great fucking match. That's what makes it hurt way worse. I would have been mad if any given match that was on the main card that had not been delivered, you should be mad about. And I would have been mad about. But yeah, the fact that this was going to be like two of the best talents they got on the card right now, fuck that. Anyway. This is another thing that I find so fucking weird. And it's not because these characters are weird, but the placement of this. They have Goldust and Stardust, okay? And they're doing this thing where they're like, there. That's it. They're like looking for the Star Road on the 150cc track. The Magic Crayon or the Star Road or things. And they're in a room with darkness and they have stars. And they are in vinyl. And they flew them into town for this. This has been going on for like a month. They bring Goldust and Cody on a plane, and they fly them into town, and they have them put on gold paint and wear a vinyl bodysuit, and they have them just act fruity and not wrestle, and that's it. And then there's a battle royal. What the fuck are they doing? This is really getting frustrating to me. You know, like, this pay-per-view sucked. You know, like, okay, this is where it really started to kill me, alright? They kept shilling the fucking network. They kept doing promos like this. And the promos were so goddamn long and slow and boring. And it was like the matches were so slow and boring. And it was like... It was like they... Did they not have... Like... It was like they were playing for time. Did they... It was like the show was too long and they didn't have enough matches or something. It was like, they're like, oh, we got like a half hour. Oh, we bought too much time or something. Like, play it out, talk or something, tell jokes. Like, when I really started to notice it, which was early, was when Lana was talking. And it wasn't because of the Malaysia thing. But she was talking in this really strange cadence. She started talking like this. You Americans are so weak and stupid. Your president is a sissy girly man. And I'm like, even for her, and even for a wrestling promo, she is adding like 4 seconds of pauses to everything she says. Like, maybe it was just me, but like, everything she was saying was dragged out to like twice as long. It was, I don't know. But this was the case with like the matches too. It was like, yeah, AJ and Paige would just hit a move and sit there. And like Chris Jericho and Bray Wyatt felt really slow, but it didn't seem like they were slow because like Bray Wyatt was gassed or Chris Jericho was gassed. You know, Swagger and Rusev felt slow. The only match that felt really fast-paced and really cool was the Tag Team Championships. But there was a ton of promos. There was a ton of commercials, including that shitty Ninja Turtles movie. God. But yeah, the fucking Rhodes Brothers thing. So many commercials for the network. Then we have this Battle Royal. And how bad is it when the Battle Royal, and Battle Royals are always shit. I've gone on about this. This was the second best match on the card. For the Intercontinental Championship. Everybody was in this match. Except the people who weren't. And the people who weren't were very noticeable. Were conspicuous by their absence. That's the phrase I was thinking of. Only one Matador was in this match. Diego. They brought one Matador. I don't know why. Sin Cara 3 was in there. No Rob Van Dam. I heard somewhere on Twitter, no way of verifying this, have no idea if it's true. And if true, I have no idea why it would be true. I've heard that Bob Van Dam no-showed the pay-per-view. Don't know why, don't know how, don't know what the fallout will be or would be. I don't know. Strange, as I said. The Rhodes Brothers, not in the Battle Royal. Which is strange, because they were there, and they were acting fruity in deep space. You got me, man. The Miz was there, looking like Johnny Cage, which is bonus points, because Johnny Cage is my dude, although The Miz sucks. I'm looking at my notes. I took copious notes, because I was bitching about so much during the show. Kofi. Kofi bugs the shit out of me lately. He's good. He's really good. And they don't know what the fuck to do with him. He's one of those guys for years. For years, he's great. But they don't know what the fuck to do with him. They do this thing with him where, like, they go, oh man, he's this great guy. We should put a title on him. So they give him the Intercontinental title, and then they go, he's pretty good. Let's have Randy Orton beat him a few times. Because he's pretty good, and it'll make Randy Orton look really good. So yeah, he's this guy who's like, he's pretty good as the Intercontinental Champion, and the Intercontinental Champion is the guy that the number one contender can beat to give him credibility. Because that's what the Intercontinental Champion is the guy number one contender beats. So, you know, Kofi wins the title and loses a bunch, and then loses the title, and then jobs a lot. So, Kofi is, for some reason, on a winning streak against Cesaro. And it's always hard for me to take Kofi seriously, because up until, like, a few months ago, Kofi was the biggest jobber in the world. And now he's beating Cesaro, who, up until recently, was winning the Andre the Giant over-the-top rope battle royal, who is one of the biggest killers on the roster. And now I don't know what the fuck is going on, because Cesaro is losing to everybody. In fact, Antonio Cesaro got dumped over the top rope by Heath fucking Slater. I don't know what the fuck Cesaro did to piss off the gods. Did he fart in the same elevator Triple H was in, or what? What the fuck is happening, man? I don't even... And okay, as for Kofi's had this thing for years now, where he always has this. He's the miracle man when it comes to the Royal Rumble or any kind of battle royal, where he has this miraculous save. He gets dumped over the top rope, but somehow he saves himself. You know, he finds some way where his feet don't touch the floor, and he gets back in the ring. He saves himself. And it's always more spectacular every single time. So he's got this reputation now. How will Kofi save himself? In fact, every time he gets in the ring, the commentators are like, I can't wait. I can't wait to see Kofi get in the battle royal. He's a specialist, you know, at the battle royals. He always finds a new way to astound us. And I'm like, yeah. Well, you'd think for having a reputation as a miracle man, you'd think he'd have won a single battle royal in his entire life. He never has. The guy sucks. He doesn't suck, though. That's my point. You'd think At some point, he'd win a battle royal. I wanted him to win this one. Of course he wasn't going to. Because he's Kofi. I don't know, man. But this one was, Big E gets dumped outside. Kofi gets thrown out, and he lands on Big E's shoulders. So he saves himself, and then Cesaro, for some insane reason, gets on the apron, grabs Kofi, and then suplexes him back inside the ring. He could have just pushed him. But wrestling! Yeah, Heath Slater, the Great Khali. I've probably mentioned this before. The Great Khali. You know, people pick on the Great Khali. He sucks. He has pretty much always sucked. But you know what? He's a hard worker. Always has been. He's had charisma. And by God, that guy has worked hard. And believe it or not, he has learned a lot. And he has improved a lot since he started. And that's not saying much. But he has improved. And he has taken a lot of punishment. He can barely walk. Watching him try to walk it's painful to me. I can scarcely conceive how painful it is to him. It looks like every single second of standing is the most excruciating torment in the world to the Great Khali. His knees must feel like they are filled with broken glass and death. Jesus Christ, this guy. He walks like a Frankenstein. And I'm not making fun of him. I have the utmost sympathy for this guy. His knees must hurt so goddamn much. And then they're trying to throw this guy over the top rope. Oh my God. I'm not picking on the guy. Dude, you can't wrestle anymore. You've done what you can. Wow. Man, I applaud you, man. Great Khali is a trooper. My God, dude. The amount of pain this guy is working through, I would be curled up in a ball. I don't know if I could curl up in a ball the way his knees are. I don't know if I could bend my knees to curl up in a ball. My knees would hurt so goddamn much. The way he walks like a Frankenstein, like he's like, ugh! Like, because he can't bend his fucking knees. Can you imagine him trying to get up those fucking ring steps? And then they're throwing him over the top rope. He flops over the top rope and like sags to the apron. He like has to like climb down the ropes sideways to get to the apron and just kind of rolls over because he hurts so much. And I'm going, ooh. And I've never had bad knees. And again, I can't even imagine. But I'm like, I watch his face and I watch his legs as he walks down the ramp and I'm like, oh my God. This guy weighs like 7'6" or something like that. Or the waist. He's like 7'6", and he weighs probably like 375 probably. Oh, wow. I'm sorry, man. I don't know why. He loves what he does. See, the thing is, he goes out there because he's a worker and he loves what he does. My God, man, you are a trooper. Great Khali, dude, I salute you, man, because I couldn't do what you do, man. I could not work through that much pain. The WWE has got to let him, not fire him, but man, they have got to stop trotting him out there. They have got to stop putting him in situations like that. It sucks. It sucks what they're doing to him. Either give him a release or something. Because he's hurting. You can tell. If you say he sucks in the ring, that's why. That's all I'm saying. You got to understand his circumstances. Anyway. Yeah, Heath Slater eliminated Cesaro. Okay. It comes down to, what was it? Sheamus, Dolph Ziggler, and who was it? Sheamus, Dolph Ziggler. Yeah. So they do this thing. Fuck, who was it? And the Ryback. So they tease this. They tease this whole thing where Sheamus and the Ryback are squaring off like two big hosses, and then Sheamus just kicks him off the apron. I'm like, feed me, brogue. So everyone's all psyched up about Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler, yay! Dolph's gonna win the IC title. He was so horrible. I want you to watch. If you're a Dolph Ziggler fan, and I'm serious, I'm not being an asshole here. I want you to watch from the moment that it's him and Sheamus in the ring together. I want you to watch that segment again. He is horrible. No, really. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not being an asshole. He is horrible. I'll tell you why. He works way too goddamn fast. Example. Really early on, I think he clotheslines or he knocks down Sheamus. He knocks him down, and then he hits the ropes, and he comes back, and he goes for a Thez press. Thez press is where he like what Austin would do when he jumps on the guy and he goes for a mount and he punches him. At least in theory. He knocks Sheamus down. He goes on the ropes and he runs and he jumps on him. But he runs on the ropes, he runs and hits the ropes and he jumps. But the thing is, when you go for a Thez press, the guy should be standing. You hit the ropes, come back, and then you jump on him, and he falls down, and then you're on the mountain, and you start punching him. So this is Dolph, this is Sheamus. He knocks Sheamus down. He runs to the ropes, bounces off, and then goes to the Thez press. He's still on the ground. So Sheamus is on the ground. He runs to the ropes, comes back. Sheamus is on one knee. He's just getting up as he goes for the Thez press. So he Thez presses Sheamus, who's like, what the fuck? Who sees fucking Dolph Ziggler, who weighs like 265 pounds. He's fucking flying at his face crotch first in the Thez press. Dolph like tries to abort like halfway Thezward and catches Sheamus with his thigh. They both fucking flop over to the side. It looks terrible. They both almost die. The commentators don't even know what the fuck it was. I think Cole tries to call it an attempted Famasser. It looked so ugly, Cole thought it was a Famasser. It was a Thez press. And then, I don't even know what the fuck was happening. I think in an attempt to cover up how shitty it was, Dolph then kicks it into high gear. I think to cover up, so he's like, ah, shit, that looked crappy. So he then tries to cover it up by like going into by trying to go ape shit by like punching him in the back and then punching him in the back of the head and doing like all sorts of like Garvin stomps on his back and like, you know, stomping in the arm, stomping in the back and like punching him, like trying to go like, I'm crazy, I'm all fired up and I'm a psycho babyface and I'm intense, ah! Like throwing him around and like punching him in the corner, ah! But he does this. This is what Dolph Ziggler does. Is he just starts like just like school like bullying people on the ground and like just like wailing fists on the guy. But like I think he was doing this to cover up his mistake. Like yeah, that was messy, but I'm just crazy. You know, like so he tries to cover up sloppiness by just kind of being generally sloppy all over the place and pretending like he's only sloppy because he's being so fucking crazy and intense. And the audience is like, yeah, he's crazy happy, like the Ultimate Warrior, you know, like. And maybe that's the appeal? He's gonna get somebody hurt. It's ridiculous. My favorite thing that he does, and he didn't do it this match. This is the best. This is basic psychology of wrestling. And he still does this, and it's not this match. What he'll do is this is a classic wrestling spot. Is the bad guy will be slumped in the corner, you know, the turnbuckle. And the babyface will climb up the turnbuckle and do the punches down on the guy in the corner. So, you know, the standard thing, and the crowd counts along. And they go 1, 2, 3, 4, and they count all the way to 10. Okay? Everyone has seen that. Even people who don't watch wrestling know that spot because they've seen it in movies. And even people who don't watch wrestling count along because they know, they're like, I know that. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is how Dolph Ziggler does it. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Seriously. That's how he does it. If not, he does that faster. He does it faster than that. That's Dolph Ziggler. It is impossible to care about Dolph Ziggler as a babyface. He takes the crowd out of his own matches. He sucks. How are you supposed to cheer for Dolph Ziggler? He doesn't let you cheer for him. He goes for the 10 punch in the corner. He climbs up there and you're like, all right, he's going to punch the guy 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. He didn't even let you count. He runs up there, punches him 10 times. It took him like 2 seconds. What's the fun in that? He was supposed to like jump up there and be like, hey, you want me to see? Like, there's a whole psychology to it where he runs up to the corner and is like, hey, you want to see me punch this guy 10 times? That's what like, seriously, there's like a whole, he goes up there and he does, most, like, Hulk Hogan, for instance, wouldn't just go up there and start punching. He'd go up there, stand over and be like, hey guys, look at this. You want me to, people would go like, yay! And be like, okay, brother. Boom, boom, you know. No, Dolph Ziggler would be like, that's Dolph Ziggler. Works way too goddamn fast. He looked fucking terrible. So, another example of why he sucks. So they do this bit where he actually kicks Sheamus over the top rope, and he supposedly wins, but not true, because The Miz was waiting outside of the ring this whole match, and he throws him over the top rope, and Miz is now the IC champion. Problem. This was so predictable. And I don't say that because I'm super smart. I say that because this was super fucking predictable. The announcers fucking telegraphed this. So much so that April, who was in who was not watching, who was in the next room, not able to see the screen, knew that The Miz was still laying on the floor outside and had not been eliminated. The announcers had blown the finish that badly. And The Miz had blown the finish that badly. Because this is what was happening. The entire match, the Miz kept sliding under the bottom rope to avoid elimination. And the commentators kept calling the spot. They're like, there goes The Miz again, sliding under the bottom rope. Thanks. And then he'd do it again. And then they go, Jerry would be like, how many times is Miz gonna do that to avoid elimination? He's just laying down out there. You know, it's like, is he gonna spend the whole match out there? And like, apparently. Because again, April was not in the room, and she's like, is The Miz still outside? And I'm like, yep. And she's like, he's gonna come in there at the end of the match and just throw whoever's left out there. And I'm like, yep. Sure enough. That's how bad you blew this finish. Now, I cannot be mad about whoever won this match. In fact, I could not be happier that The Miz won this match. It's like Cesaro, Big E, Kofi, any of those wrestlers that I like, I did not want them to win this match. You know why? I'll tell you why. Because the Intercontinental title is the worst thing that could possibly happen to any of those wrestlers that you like. Because the Intercontinental title is a curse! It's like it's like a dead albatross to hang around your neck. It's the worst thing ever. It's like as long as the Intercontinental title is around your waist, it's like the scarlet letter. You cannot win as long as you bear this. It's a mark of shame. It's the mark of the jobber. It's cursed. Why would you? I don't know why you would ever participate in this battle royal. Why would you want this thing? It's like participate in the herpes battle royal. There's no prize here. So yeah, Miz, by all means, sir, take this belt, kick it in the fucking sewer. Please, take this shit. God. And that was what, and this was a good match. Really? As far as battle royals go, which always suck, this was okay. Like I said, second best match on the show. Impossible to care. Because I so don't care about the Intercontinental Championship, nor should you. That said, as long as you ignore what was at stake here, this was a good match. That's a weird stipulation as long as you stop caring, it was good. Although that's pretty much the story of this entire pay-per-view. As long as you weren't the one paying for it, it was pretty good. It was a fine match. Okay, let me put it this way. It was way better than it had any right to be. That said, this was another thing that was really... This was iconic of a lot of frustrations people have with the way the business is today. In fact, the whole pay-per-view kind of sums it up as well. A lot of frustrations people have had for a long time. And it's like... And it seems like common whining that goes on and on and on. People keep whining about it. Why can't we get new people over? Why can't we put new people, we can't make new stars. We can't! Because let's look at the winners here. Chris Jericho. And not Bray Wyatt. The Miz. And not anybody else. and it's really cynical, and yet probably true, to start looking at kind of political reasons for why The Miz won this match. Maybe it's because there's a new movie coming out, then they kind of want The Miz kind of in the spotlight right now. It's very cynical to say so, but is it unfair? Probably true. Yeah, probably is. You know, and it just seems like it's just, you know, it seems there's no story behind it. You know, it's frustrating because it's just, oh, it's The Miz. You know, it's like he just comes back. He's got no story. He's got no stake in this. He just comes back and he wins. You know, there's no history behind this. The Miz comes back and he wins. Oh, he's just some chicken shit guy you laid outside and, oh, I don't care. Because nobody cares about The Miz, and nobody cares about his movie, and his character gimmick is stupid. And it's always been stupid. And this isn't going to make us care about The Miz. And it's not going to make us care about the movie. And there's so many characters. There's so many wrestlers. I'm sorry, not characters. Wrestlers. There's so many other wrestlers in that ring that we would so much rather they would just give them a chance. But there's a movie coming out. And that's a standard gripe. And it may be standard, but I don't know if it doesn't make it wrong, you know. My second favorite segment is Seth Rollins is going to the parking lot. Apparently he wants to drive home still dressed in his wrestling gear. He didn't want to hit the showers. He's still greasy as fuck. His wrestling gear, by the way, looks like he's Snake Plissken. Without the eye patch, of course. He looks like he's ready to infiltrate the prison of New York. But Seth Rollins, he's accompanied by security. And he's in the parking lot looking for his car. And he tells his security guards to go away. He goes, I don't need you anymore. I'm going home. The security guards are like, are you sure? He's like, yes, I'm sure. And I'm like, wouldn't you rather be in the arena where you know for certain Dean Ambrose isn't? And I don't know, maybe you might want to hang out anyway. I mean, I'm sure you want to go home, but maybe you want to hang out in the arena anyway, just in case. I don't know. This is kooky, but wild idea. Maybe something will happen, and you might want to, I don't know, become World Heavyweight Champion. Because I don't know. Maybe John Cena gets hit in the head really hard and goes into a coma, or somebody hits John Cena with a large hammer, and then he falls down, and then he can't get up, and then if only someone was around with a briefcase that has a contract for the World Heavyweight Championship in it. Oh, Seth, you went home. Whoops. No, he's going home. He's done. Because why not? Why should you have to stay at work? I don't know. But no, he's going home. Whatever. So the security guards are like, are you sure? We could just walk you to your car. He's like, no! Stupid! And he's like, but... The guard's like, but Dean Ambrose could be out here, sir. He's like, what? Don't be stupid. He's not... Do you see Dean Ambrose out here? And he's like, he could be hiding. It's like, get get out of here. I can handle him. The security guard's like, could we stay at least within line of sight of you? And he's like, go away. So he turns around and the guard's leaving. He turns around and Dean Ambrose is hiding in the trunk of a car. He comes out there and he swings a tire iron at him. And Seth is like, my hubris led me to this. So they have a really shitty brawl. And this is, it just, despite having the clear advantage and a weapon, Dean Ambrose completely fails to even injure or slightly annoy Seth Rollins. He completely whiffs, chokes on the ambush completely, gets beat up, and then Seth Rollins escapes in his car. Dean Ambrose looks like a complete clown and is left just standing there completely impotently waving a tire iron. He looks like a complete joke. They have neutered Dean Ambrose so much during this entire feud. I don't know what they're trying to do with Dean Ambrose here. But they have fucking just ruined him at every turn. I know they're trying to make it so like when he finally gets his hands on him, it's gonna be sweet. But it's not. It's like Seth has gotten the better of him at every turn, and rightfully so. It's like instead of him just getting away by the skin of his teeth, Seth Rollins is just better. He's kicking Dean Ambrose's ass. Dean Rollins had a fucking tire iron. Seth saw it coming, beat his ass, and then got away. He just got away. Dean Ambrose looked like a coward who got beaten up and then left laying, and I don't know, this was bad. And it just reinforced the fact that this was a shitty brawl that we paid for instead of a match. This was terrible. And then John Cena versus Kane versus Randy Orton versus Roman Reigns, the Fatal 4-Way for the World Heavyweight Championship. You know how this ends. You know. It's just like, this was fine. That's pretty much that's the match. It was fine. But that's the way it's always been, It's like, it's... John Cena, this is pretty much the last pay-per-view I'm trying to find something I could say that I haven't said before, and I was about to say it, and I'm just going to say it again. John Cena and Randy Orton and Kane could do this match in their sleep, and they pretty much did. And Roman Reigns was there. And Roman Reigns was pretty much the only breath of fresh air in this match. And even he looked pretty much lost. He was pretty much in over his head, and he looked that way. It's... I don't know what else to tell you. John Cena was always going to win this match. Everyone knew it. There was no drama here. Yeah. They tried to add some tension here between Randy Orton and Kane that just reinforced the idea that John Cena's walking out with the title, when really they should have been teasing cohesion between them to make us think that there was going to be some kind of screw job in effect. Although making us think that would only make us think there'd be a finger poke of doom coming. That was really what we made. I don't know, because then they'd have been teasing Russo booking. I don't know. Weird situation all around. I really don't like heel authority. I don't like the bad guy authority figure angles, and that's all we've had for the past 2 years now. There's nothing to say about the match, It's Cena, Orton, Kane. It's so boring, Seen it. I've seen it. God damn it! And after this long, after this long, it's hard for me to even distinguish. It's like, it was fine, you know. It's so hard for me to praise it, but to separate like objective praise from my cynicism over having seen it so much. They brought nothing new to this except Roman Reigns, and even that was so. They should not have brought him in on this because he was wasted, and if you weren't going to have him win the title, they shouldn't have brought him in on it, because now he looks like a loser. Okay? Roman Reigns should have only been in on a title match if he was going to win. Because now he lost. He's a loser. It's this is what they did with Ryback. Okay? There was a time, and you may not remember this, and you may laugh to think about it now, but there was a time when they were actually doing the Goldberg thing with Ryback. That's why they chant Goldberg at him now, but at the time, it was not an ironic chant. They were doing the Goldberg thing with him. They were legit feeding people to him. So then they did this thing where they put him in a cage with CM Punk, I believe. And basically somebody had to win, and it was going to be CM Punk. But that meant Ryback had to lose. And that meant Ryback had to lose. But they didn't. But Ryback really shouldn't have been losing at that point. So why the fuck did you put him in that cage? Well, the reason they put him in that cage was because somebody had to be in that cage, and Ryback was really the only guy that made sense at the time. Kind of. They kind of wrote themselves into a corner there. But as soon as they put him in the cage, Ryback's winning streak was over. And as soon as Ryback's winning streak was over, Ryback was over. As soon as you put him in the cage for a title match, and he lost, he was fucked. Because you're like, oh, Ryback can lose. Well, oh well. Game's up. It wasn't quite as bad with Roman Reigns, because at least, thank God, he didn't get pinned or tap out. But he lost. You know, it's a big thing, and it may not be a big distinction to you, but he was in a title match and he lost. It was with 3 other people, but still. They kind of did this with Daniel Bryan, where they had him in a bunch of title matches, a lot, and he lost a lot, and you know, or he lost a bunch of them, and then he won them, and then got them overturned, and it was like 6 months of title matches that he lost before finally winning one. And it was really hard to care about the guy by that point, because he was a loser. You know, you tell us he's a loser long enough, and you show us he's a loser long enough, we start to believe it. My point is like, Roman Reigns needs to be this unstoppable beast, and he looks good. But his big match against the champion needs to be that one where he goes in there and he wins. His big title match, his big victory, that should be his victory. His big title match should not be thrown away in some 4-way where he goes in there and he just is left on the floor staring up at John Cena going, that sucks. Because he just looks like a dope. Like, that was his big title match, and he lost. And next month he'll probably get another title shot. Well, no, actually, last month he was in the ladder match. Yeah. So he's already lost 2 title matches. He's probably going to be in the one next month, too. Or, no, it's probably going to be, was it Plan C? What, Brock Lesnar, probably? Or Plan B, whatever. People are guessing it's Brock Lesnar. Whatever. But, like, yeah, so Roman Reigns has already been in 2 title matches, and he's lost both. I just don't think that's the right way to go with this guy. I just think the way of booking this has kind of become like a lost art of, you know, the big win, the big build to the big title match should be something special. And they didn't give him that, especially if you want him to be the next big thing. You know, that win needs to be magic. And maybe it could have been at Money in the Bank. Maybe it could have been at SummerSlam or something like that. But, you know, even if you wanted to win, even if you were going to have him win here, which I wouldn't have had him do, even if you were going to have him win at Mania or something like that, you're like, well, we're going to give him that big moment later on down the road. Fine. You can do that. But even if you're going to do it like that, don't put him in this match. Don't put him in any title matches. Find something else for him to do. But don't have him keep losing title matches. I don't care if it's with 3 other people, if it's with 6 other people in a ladder match. Don't do it. Don't put him in title matches, because he's still a loser. If he keeps losing title matches, it's just there's going to be a perception that he's like, oh, Roman Reigns is in a title match. Oh, he didn't win. Damn. Then he's in another title match. And you keep seeing him in title matches over and over and over again, and you just don't think he's going to win now. Because he's not good enough. You stop taking him seriously. You know. Let me put it this way. If, let's say it was WCW back in the day. Goldberg was unstoppable. If they started putting Goldberg in, like, the ladder match, like a Money in the Bank match or something. This is a really bad metaphor. But let's say they put Goldberg in a Fatal 4-Way or something like that. Goldberg would probably win that shit. You know, Goldberg used to equal win the match. You know, WCW didn't do much right, but the one thing they did right for the longest time was fucking Goldberg. And then they started fucking Goldberg. But whatever. You know, the one guy they booked right for the longest time was Goldberg, because the one thing you had to do with Goldberg was have Goldberg win. You know, so that was it. And that's the way they fucked up with Ryback. Was they're like, somebody has to lose this cage match. We'll do Ryback. And they fucked up Ryback. It wasn't quite that bad with Roman Reigns. At least, thank God they didn't have. Although that was weird in this match. Oh, it was so. It so pissed me off. So, Roman Reigns and Cena are squaring off for not the first time, but the first time in this match. And finally, like, Cena and Roman are standing in the side of the ring, not middle of the ring, but anyway. Cena's grinning for some reason. He's excited. He's like, we're gonna fight! Yee! When he should be like, I hate this about Cena. He grins. He grins like an asshole. He doesn't take anything seriously. Not his title. He's about to lose his title. You know, he's in the ring with 3 other fucking 6'6" beasts. And he's smiling. You should be scared shitless. And that's not saying like you're a coward or something like that. You should be fucking intense. Scared shitless is not to mean you're a coward. That means, like, you need to be, like, alert, like, on your toes, fucking, like, fist clenched, like, let's do this, like, Like, Not like grinning like, hey, we're gonna fight now. That's what John Cena's doing with Roman fucking Reigns. This guy will fucking punch your face in. Fucking punch your face in. And he's like, we're gonna fight now. And I'm like, stupid. But that's not even what really pissed me off. Even though, in fact, he's fucking chucklehead in the ring. At least Roman Reigns has the good decency to look intense. Like, I want to win this title, you know that, right? But whatever. Cena's all like, hey, whatever. So they're punching each other and they're doing their thing. And then all of a sudden John Cena just picks him up and like the code breaker thing. They're punching, and all of a sudden John Cena just picks him up and hits the FU. That's it. Just punch, 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 punch. And then Roman Reigns is just standing there and John Cena just picks him up. Just picks him up. Roman Reigns doesn't like resist or like try to back away or like swing at him or like try to punch him. He's just like, oh, and like he doesn't move. He just stands perfectly still and is like, and gets picked up and gets FU'd. And there's no tease of it. He doesn't escape from it. There's no like battle of wills or test of strength or there's no lead up to it. There's no drama behind it. Like John Cena just hit his finisher on Roman Reigns. In theory, the big up and coming rival to John Cena. John Cena just worked him up, hit his finisher, boom! Just like that. And I'm like, maybe that's just me. Again, maybe that's just me. But to me, that's one of those moments where, like, there should be a little more drama to that. That's one of those moments that if they're gonna make Roman Reigns one of those guys who's, like, gonna be one of those main eventers, and it seems like they were going for that, boom. It just seemed like it seemed like some dad picking up his kid and like, hello, believe. And it was so effortless. It really, like, it looked like John Cena was picking up a kid. Just, he horked him up, put him down. It was funny. It was really, like, it was like Roman Reigns weighed nothing. John Cena is absurdly strong. It really is. It's astounding how strong John Cena is. Like if you've seen him pick up, Big Show or other guys like that, that dude is fucking beast. How strong he is. But yeah, like Roman Reigns seriously weighs nothing to John Cena. Like, and Roman Reigns is huge. Like, incredible. Anyway, yeah, up, down. I got nothing else. Yeah, where was I? John Cena wins. But the future refused to change. Where we go from here, I did not predict this card well at all. I guess in my ignorance, I was predicting change. I predicted the Wyatts to win. I predicted Bray Wyatt to win. I was wrong on both counts. I predicted AJ to win correctly. I predicted Rusev to win. So 2 for 2. I predicted Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose would happen. So I was wrong there. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who I predicted to win, because I'm not counting. Even if I predicted correctly, I'm not counting it as a win or a loss, because fuck that. It was a forfeit? Fuck you. Intercontinental Championship Battle Royal, I never predict those. Even if I did, I predicted wrong. I predicted Torito, who is not, in fact, in the Battle Royal. Who would I have predicted? It would not have been Miz. Cesaro. Especially since they've been burying Cesaro so far beneath the earth. They've seriously had him losing to Kofi like 3 weeks in a row. And I forget who they had him lose against last week, but fuck. They've had him lose so much, so decisively lately. He's perfect for Intercontinental Champion. Made sense to me. Yeah, that's all I got. This was a lame show. And it started off so well. Bad. I had such high hopes for this one. You know what? Yeah, I did have high hopes for this one. Because I wanted to see Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. That's why I was so fucking pissed. So fucking pissed. I gotta go. I'm gonna rant about this all night. God damn it. I want my Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose.